Hello there. Today I will be reviewing a very special and very expensive bottle of rum. The trouble was I wanted to give it a sparring partner. And I felt like it couldn't just be good. It couldn't just be like really good. It had to be kind of a legend, you know? So after thinking about it for a little while and planning this video out, what I decided to review as the sparring partner was this. Laphroaig Original Cask Strength. Me and this series go back a long, long ways. Way back in the day, this was like a decade and a half ago, I was one of the, I can't say one of the first like Ralphie reviewers, but I was in there in like the first 20 videos, right? And one in there was a review of what was at the time just the Laphroaig Cask Strength. The words Ralphie used to describe it, the word was devastating, the most devastating malt whiskey you could buy, or something like that, was the phrasing. And so I said, oh goody, I'm going to go out and buy this. And I did, and I have bought it religiously ever since. Basically, anytime I've seen it on sale or anytime Vinny's has been doing like its little 15% off coupon thingy, I've grabbed a bottle of Laphroaig Cask Strength and stuffed it away because it's that good. Or, you know, at least it was. I haven't reviewed this in a while. Now, I did try to buy the bottling, the most recent bottling. It just left the shelves of my recent store, so I failed. So instead, I'm opening up the most recent one from my archives. This is the batch 11 from March 2019, so the before times, actually. Bottled at 58.6% alcohol by volume. Annoyingly, Ralphie did do a review of some recent batch that put up yesterday. As I am recording this, like yesterday, he put up a review of that. I have not watched it because I do not want my opinion influenced. I imagine he's gonna. I imagine the conclusion was something like it's still real good, but it was better back in the old days, and also. Why aren't they presenting it better? Why aren't the casks better? Why isn't there less chill filtration or less color? I'm sure he's found a way to complain about chill filtration too. Why isn't there less colorant? That is an awfully dark color, isn't it? And so on and so on and so on. Because I've watched for a long time and I know the patterns at this point. Anyway, so this is the sparring partner I wanted to use. Used to be $60, is now $90, which is annoying, but that's where the market is going. So what is the special bottle I wanted this to be fighting out with? This is the special bottle. Hampden DOK 2017. This is a pick from PM Spirits, who's the American importer, through La Maison Velier, which is the sort of, I don't even know what to call them, the international distributor of Hampden. Anyways, this is a little bit of a coup on the part of PM Spirits, because so far as I'm aware, this is the first aged DOK to make it into the U.S., and I managed to snag a bottle. Basically, because my wife was visiting New York, and she owed me some favors, so she picked it up for me. This is a single cask, ex-bourbon, cask number 155, if you're curious. 5 years old, but which sounds young until you remember, like, those are tropical years, right? And that the LROK, LROK, it was that I reviewed a little while ago. That was also 5 years old, and that did not feel underage at all. The 250 bottles. This is bottle 40, 64.6% alcohol. So the DOK mark is the highest ester mark that Hampden legally can produce. This is the serious stuff. Like the unaged bottlings of DOK have reduced me to tears on camera before. They're that good. So I am very eager to see what's up with an aged version. All right, let's get this started. I babbled for long enough. Let's begin with the old champ. Laphroaig Original Cask Strength, batch 11, 10-year-old, 58.6% alcohol by volume. Here we go. Ooh. I think austere is a good first word to use. God, I love this. I love the signature. I love so many Laphroaig bottlings these days have just had so much oak just piled and piled and piled on top. Obviously, the most recent Kierjas, the Warehouse 1, not so much. I really enjoyed that actually, but it still felt a little bit like a cruiserweight in these terms. This is like just pure Laphroaig without distractions, right up in your face hole. Crushed seashells. Just like used antiseptic bandages. I mean, this just smells like a hospital dumpster. Fresh oysters, like raw oysters with still a little bit of like seawater on them, like you just pop them out of the ocean. Lemon peel. Not as much lemon peel as I recall, but it's kind of there. Fennel. And oh yeah, did I mention peat? There's a very rich seaside, like maritime briny peat thing going on, which is very intense. But there's also just a lot of ashiness to this. The oak. The American oak is softening this a little bit, but not as much as you would think. There's some vanilla, some like French roast coffee. Yeah, it's really, but lots of peat, lots of medical waste, lots of like pipe tobacco ashtray, but nice. Little tiny touch of banana if you go hunting for it. I'm really looking for fruit here, and there isn't a whole lot. S'mores if you give this a little bit of time. But yeah, the general word is austere and just serious and purist, I guess. The Jansenists would love this whiskey. On the palate. Yeah, again, this is just as like tarry and ashy as it is peaty. Yeah, it's like you're eating the trash can at a cigar bar, but nice. Like you're enjoying those cigar leftovers, you know? Rocks, seashells, brine, the oysters thing, the medical waste thing. Pepper, black pepper, lots of black pepper. Actually, it wasn't as present on the nose. Slightly grassy, actually, like a burned grass sort of thing. Fennel again. Again, I'm looking for fruit, and I'm just not finding much. There's maybe a little bit of Ovaltine in there happening. Let's go with that. Old coffee grinds, but nice. There is a little bit of like a back end astringency on this, like a little bit of uncomfortable bitterness, which might be frankly caramel colorant, because I imagine there is a fair bit in here. Like some of this is probably cask recharring and stuff, but I don't think all of it is. It's nice. That's very good. It's a very good whiskey. Let's add some water and come back to it. Now, has the old champ lost a step or two? We'll see when we add water, but initial thoughts, yeah, a little bit. Not how you would think, though. Like, let's see if that's enough. What I think old hands like me, and I'm not even that old a hand, used to take for granted about Laphroaig, and in particular this bottling, the cask strength. That's about right. I think what we took for granted was the fruit. Not to say that Laphroaig has ever been like a super fruity, fruit bomby whiskey at all, but like a decade and a half ago, like I do distinctly remember it would occasionally throw you a little piece of pineapple or something, or like some lemon lime, some orange, something like that. And weirdly enough, I like it. Maybe it was that made it seem like more potent, more peaty, smoky. Like that little bit of contrast, just somehow made the rest seem so much darker and grungier. So I kind of miss that. Like all the smoke and everything is still there, but I want some of that the fruit back. That's what I'm missing. So yeah, I mean, but still a really good whiskey. All right, let us move on though to the Challenger, the DOK. I've been hyping up Hampden for like 3 years now. If you don't know already, then here you go. Oh, good Lord. Okay, I was talking about wanting fruit before, and here it is. Here's all the fruit. I mean, this is huge fruit bomb insanity on the nose. Blueberries, blackberries, cherry, raspberry, just berries galore. Then like rocks and flowers. Like I sometimes use the tasting notes of like rocks turning into flowers and then back again, like that almost like it's impossible to tell which is which. That's happening here. Like that is something I get all over Hampden's range, and is absolutely happening here. Soapstone in particular among the rocks. But you can tell the oak has done some work. It isn't like it's definitely not overwhelming the distillate here. I mean, because how could you when this thing is like pushing 1,600 grams per hectoliters of esters? But it's there. There's some interesting tertiary notes. There's a little bit of like a Teneraz Armagnac thing happening. It's like backwoods Armagnac, fruity Armagnac. Orange soda is happening. Not Fago. This is more crush. Vanilla beans, fennel, salted licorice. It's cola, but it's not. It's more like the the cola bottle candies, those things. Yeah, that's here. But then there's some savory stuff going on. There's like a little bit of like a smoked eel thing. If you ever visit Lithuania, go out to the coast, go visit Nida, get some smoked eel. It's amazing. I had a religious experience with smoked eel once there. Like just go. Oolong tea, a little bit of like old cologne happening. Like post-war 1950s cologne. Red curry. There's some weird stuff going on too. There's a little bit of like urinal cake, but I'm into it. I didn't know that about myself, but now I do. It's incredibly intense and dense. Like the Laphroaig is incredibly intense, but this is like 2 or 3 steps like removed from that even. There's a note in this which is almost like if you've ever like been near a solder gun in action, this smells a little bit like hot solder. Okay, on the palate, here we go. Oh my God. Big. Big. I mean, 15 years ago we were talking about this being the biggest thing in a liquor store you could possibly buy. It's been surpassed in heft by stuff like this. Dump trucks full of berries. What berries? All the berries, every single one. The blueberries and the blackberries and the cherries and the strawberries and the raspberries and everything from the nose is still here. The rocks and the flowers are there are also dump trucks full of those, all of those. Plus, like mixed olives going on. Fennel. Brininess, seawater. Black pepper too, masses of black pepper. That old cologne note kind of again. It's just it's not delicate. God, it's so good. Cherry cola, which is a classic Hampden sort of note. Vanilla cinnamon, which is so like take your cinnamon, but like instead of the regular icing, maybe there's like some vanilla icing you want to use. I don't know if that exists, but imagine that scenario for you. Tea, Russian caravan tea. The curry and Armagnac notes are back. The solder note is also back. Red stoved Virginia tobacco. That little bit of like pee note, that's also back. But it's really dominated by just like berries and pepper is what's taking the lead here. It's almost Syrah-like. And I say that as a huge like Syrah nerd. It's like fighting it out with Cab Franc for like one of my top 2 red grape varietals. Stunning. This is a stunning bottle. It is not cheap, but it is absolutely stunning. Let's add some water. We'll come back to it. It's going to need at least 5. At least 5. 5.5. Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. 1 second. Because, so I wanted to kind of give you a sense of the power differential between these two, right? Like this, Laphroaig is pretty darn potent. This is just a level or 2 up. So I'll be right back because I forgot something. So it wouldn't be fair. Oh, okay. Let me take a step back. You, at home, I presume, if you're a nerd like me, have done home blends before. And you have learned in that experience that you have to be very careful when you add Laphroaig to any of those blends, right? You add like more than a little bit, it completely takes over. It is a very assertive spirit. So, what would happen if you blended some Hampden with your Laphroaig, right? Which would win? Now, I'm not going to blend these two because that would not be fair. This is almost a $200 bottle. This is currently a $90 bottle. Used to be $60, so that's not completely fair. So what I've done before I started recording this video, just to give it time to settle down, is I blended this Laphroaig Cask Strength with Rumfire. Rumfire, which is considerably less expensive. It is back on sale in the Chicago area. They changed distributors. It used to be $30. The price change has happened, unfortunately. They've, as I was expecting, it has now gone from $30 to $28. $28 for this. So, Rumfire is what is it? Oh, Lord. It's the, I forget which mark it is, but it's the one that sort of begins the high ester Hampden marks. This is where where Hampden starts to get serious. And it is a sub $30 bottle, which I'm blending with cask strength Laphroaig, which should be the most, which again, 15 years ago was the most devastating malt whiskey you could buy. On the nose. And it really just, this blend, half and half, quarter ounce each. It really just mostly smells like rum fire. It just smells like rum fire. Actually, it's a little bit like almost espadín mezcal-like. So rum fire by way of espadín. I'm getting some vanilla coming through actually on this this little blendy blend. More so than peat. It's really the ashiness and the vanilla that are making the way through in a slightly medicinal character. But yeah, it's really the rum fire dominating this in terms of the clash of these two spirits. Well, these two spirits. On the palate, now the Laphroaig is asserting itself a little bit more. The nose is like 80-20 rum fire to Laphroaig. This is more like 55-45. We're still being dominated by the fruity, floral, mineral, olivey rum fire notes, but the peat is creeping through. The ash and the sort of medicinal quality is certainly also peeking through, as well as a little bit of vanilla. I actually like this. The plan was just to use this as a gimmick, but you know what? I'm going to add water to this. We'll try it again at the end. During discussion, maybe. So 3 squirts, that should be plenty. Okay. That is enough time. Let us go back to our bottles. Okay, back to the... I'm going to have some more water. Back to the Laphroaig. So that's kind of my point, right? Like, this is a $30 bottle from Hampden. It is nowhere near as expensive as this. It is nowhere near the ester level of this. But it can still just bully Laphroaig around. Laphroaig. See my point? All right, back to the cask strength. Laphroaig. On the nose, gets a little bit more friendly, actually. That Ovaltine note, or really almost a milk chocolate note now, is kind of getting more assertive. More vanilla, more s'more. Almost like what is that? Almost like a peaty grapefruit soda element creeping in. It's very subtle. Yeah, so like peated ting, a little bit, just like 3 drops of peated ting in here. Still ashy, still very austere and serious, but with water, kind of comes up and says hello a little bit. Kind of opens up the shell a bit on the palate. Nice. Vanilla fudge kind of really steps forward to balance things out. Still very driven by like ashtray and like cigar bar leftovers, but yeah, the fudge and vanilla are definitely present. Like I'm not talking about like chocolate fudge with vanilla added. I'm talking about fudge where it's just vanilla. See what I don't know. It's nice. It's become more friendly. Very good. I'd still love just a touch more fruit. Like just like throw me like a touch of pineapple. Little touch of pineapple here. But still, I mean, that kind of acridness I was getting on the back end when this was neat, that's kind of disappeared. This is good. This is like still a serious all-time classic. Again, I feel like it's lost a little bit of a step, but this is nice. This is, I would call this an 88-point whiskey. It's not really where it was. I mean, back in the day, this used to be like a certain 89, 90 for me. It was just kind of like, one of the standards of the scoring range for me. It's not quite there now, but it's not far away. And $90, is it still worth it? Relative to the rest of where Scotch, especially peaty Scotch, has gone, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a premium over the 10-year-old, which is now like 65, and you're getting a way better whiskey. Yeah, I mean, with Ardbeg 10 at like 70, with a lot of the old classics just going completely nuts. Yeah, this is still absolutely worth buying. Not quite what it once was, not quite the value it once was, but still, if you were a peat head, go buy a bottle of this. Okay. But it's not just Islay that's the competition these days, is it? It's stuff like this. Okay, back to the Hampden, now with a little bit of water added. Ooh. With water, the savory notes, especially that almost like solder iron note, really comes out. More licorice, more olive, more just like sea stuff. But the fruit is really still dominating. There's some like apricot coming through now, which I'm enjoying. Incidentally, if this is your first time with high ester rum, approach with caution. Like, I'm kind of used to noses like this, so I can kind of dig my nose into it. But you like sneak up on this. This will knock your ass backwards if it's your first time approaching something like this. On the palate. So the main thing is, oh, Jesus. The mouthfeel and the finish, which were already very, very good and very, very serious and deep and glorious, get even better with the addition of water. The pepper comes out a little bit more. Wow. Just one of the great spirits of the world. Like, way, way, way up there. What's amazing is, to me, this still feels young. Not immature or anything, it's just young. Like, this hasn't had time to really develop some interesting tertiary notes, like that, the Sea Diamond H I reviewed late last year. You give this another, like, 5, 6, 7 years in cask, and you have got, like, something something cartoonish. As it is, this is still a 92 pointer. 92 points for the Hampden DOK 2017, picked by PM Spirits. Yeah, this still feels like, in a way, it's. I sometimes talk about spirits going into the ditch when they first hit aging. So spirits come off as still intrinsically complex, right? Like, unaged distillate is very, very complex if you try it. You don't get an immediate increase in complexity when you throw it into a barrel. It seems to actually deaden down, like, get less complex for an initial maturation period, and then it eventually kind of pulls itself out of that, the maturation ditch, the oak ditch, whatever you want to call it, to get more and more complex as the years come on. This feels like it's still just beginning to pull itself out. It's just beginning to develop those interesting tertiary notes. Point being, it's still at this level. Like, this is still a 92 pointer. This is real good. For $200, is it worth it? For the level of quality this is at, yeah, it kind of is. Relative to where the rest of the market is, it is. But it still wouldn't be the one I would buy, because the one I would buy would be something like this. Unaged DOK from Hampden. I've reviewed this before. I've reviewed this a little bit higher. And is considerably less expensive for what it is. So buy this instead. Assuming you're not one of those people who's just afraid of anything that hasn't seen oak before. And if you're one of those people, get over it. Just get over it. Seriously. All right. Yeah, so there we go. 88 points for Laphroaig Cask Strength Batch 11. And the Hampden gets a 92. And this is basically bullying this. Like, almost off the table. So is the king dead? No, but I think it's kind of abdicated the throne a little bit. Maybe not by choice, but it's abdicated a little bit. And long live the king. So question of the day. Let's start a question of the day because it's fun. Question of the video, rather. Question of the video. Who do you think are the kings of spirits today? Please post an answer down below if you are interested in doing so. Thanks for watching and cheers.